Hello everybody, it's Miss Amy. I thought I would give you a quick tour of the garden here at home and let you see what's happening. This little bed has some teeny tiny little okra plants in it. They are starting to get some secondary leaves on them, so hopefully we'll have some okra by the time weather is hot. This bed has some broccoli, and you know it's mowing season, so everybody's out mowing, but also it's watering season, so the hose is out in the middle of the garden. This bed has a bunch of peppers, the Carmen peppers, which are sweet. This bed has some slicing tomatoes and radishes of two different ages. This bed was just seeded with green beans. This bed has San Marzanos, and in the front here it has some baby beets, and it looks like some birds have been here plucking them out. And on the back side there's a row of carrots. There you can see those little baby carrots coming. This row is called Chipola's Pride. It's a large sauce style tomato, and it's new for us in the garden this year, so I'm anxious to see those come. There's some basil interplanted in there as well. This half of the bed is green onions that were put in by seed, and then two Mountain Magics, which are the salad tomatoes that we get in this peak of the season. Here's some sweet peas that are just really starting to finally take on some size. We've finally gotten out of that high wind and cool nights, and they've really taken off. This bed has some cucumbers. These were started in the barn and were set out last week, and then I've got seeds in to finish out that row. Once the peas are actually producing, I will underplant this with some cucumbers to take over when the peas are done. This bed has banana peppers, a serrano pepper, and this is a new heirloom tomato. I hope I'm going to say this right. It's like bananas without the B. I think it's Ananas Noir. It's a tri-colored tomato, and the plants have been just fantastic. Really thick stems, full, really abundant growth. They actually have some buds starting to set in there. See those right there in the center. So I'm really anxious to see how those do through the heat of the season. This tomato is another heirloom that we're trying this year. It's called the Amana Orange. And again, I've been really happy with the plants. They germinated well, they have nice thick stems, they have good branching. We'll see how they do in the heat and humidity. That's where I'm worried because they don't have any disease resistance built in. The rest of this bed are big beef tomatoes, which is a slicer, and it's got some basil interplanted. There's nothing on this last bed yet. We need to hang the trellis fencing. Hopefully we'll do that tomorrow, and then it gets planted with cucumbers. This trellis bed has two cherry tomatoes, red ones, and this row of tomatoes, I need to get on the other side here, is another row of big beef for the slicers. This is a row of peppers, and I've pushed them all to one side so that I can plant some greens at the back side. Probably it will get some kale. These are King Arthur. They're a nice big bell pepper. Here's another 6-foot section of peas, and seeded down in the front is some kale, and then some tiny little kale plants were put in here. This is a yellow pear tomato that will grow on this 6-foot section of the trellis. This has green beans in it, an early variety that should come pretty quickly. This bed has Big Mama, which is a big sauce tomato. We've had those for several years, and this bed is interplanted with some zinnias that I grew. This bed has some baby carrots down in the front. Mokum is the variety, and they actually are grown to be pulled as either baby carrots, which that's usually what I do with them, or you can let them grow to about a 6-inch carrot. The tomatoes in this bed are Amish paste, which is another sauce style tomato, and it's new for me this year. It's not a new tomato by any stretch, it's an heirloom. This bed has excuse me, carrots. It's got two different varieties of carrots planted in. These are going to be a little bit longer carrot, and they're going to take a few more days to get to maturity. So we've got baby carrots in, we've got a medium seasoned carrot in, and then we've got some longer seasoned carrots here, and then I've got several more rows over in the other garden. These are jalafuegos, which are a long, hot jalapeno. This bed has some beets in the front. It's got two determinate slicing tomatoes at the back, some radishes which are almost ready. This bed has just the last handful of red onions that wouldn't fit in the original bed, and a couple more tomatoes, and again radishes that are pretty close. Some of them may be ready in just a couple of days if we keep some overcast weather. And then this last bed has a new pepper to us. It's called Takai's New Ace. It's a smaller pepper that should go from green to red. It's a bell pepper but with a little bit of sweetness. And then this bed has two different aged plants of a mini broccoli. It's got stems that are thinner, more tender, and are intended to be eaten rather than some of the bigger varieties. Sometimes that stem is woody and tough. This is a short-term plant, so it should be coming, again, if we can get out of some of this really high wind and high heat. It has done a lot better in the last 3 or 4 days than it has in the past. So it should be an early crop, and then I may try to reseed some more and try to do a second one. So that's what's going on here. Lots of things are happening. Seeds have been going in both gardens. I did put some flower seeds in today finally, so it really feels like spring has sprung. I hope you're doing well. I hope you're enjoying spring season and gardening and getting geared up. If you need plants, get in touch and let me know. I do still have peppers and tomatoes available, and I'll try to make a separate post about that. Thanks. Bye-bye.